Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why the shine has come off Bill Belichick.
Rings haven't. And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why the rest of the NBA should be very afraid of what LeBron and what we saw last night from him. Speak for yourself starts now.
Smiling assassin.
Oh, he's in a good mood. Very
the most
good mood.
dangerous looking sports is LeBron's smile. Hello and welcome. We're joined today by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard and the founder of The Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's start in the NBA, where the new-look Cavs had a great debut, dominating the Celtics in Boston last night. LeBron looked re-energized, playing alongside new teammates George Hill, Jordan Clarkson, Rodney Hood, and Larry Nance Jr., who combined for 49 of the team's 121 points. After the game, LeBron sounded very upbeat.
It's a good start, man, it's almost like the new guys who've been here. Started with George and, his on-the-ball pressure and, him just running the team. And then the three guys came off the bench. Jordan is he's ready to score at any point in time, but his composure was great. Rodney plays with so much poise, and Larry was just controlling the perimeter, saying great pick and rolls, got him a lob, got him a dunk. It was a good start for the new guys, good start for all of us, with our revamped team so far.
I thought our spirit was different, so I didn't know what the outcome would be, but I know we would compete and play hard, move the basketball, move bodies, and those guys are flying around, and it was good to see.
Cowherd, obvious question, prisoner of the moment, are we all? Are the Cavaliers a threat to the Golden State Warriors?
No, but they're closer. And to me, when you're going up against the dynasty, be close. And Steph has an injury history. KD has an injury history. There is no question, offensively, separated from Boston. I mean, they got 7 guys on this team now. Jeff Green, Kyle Korver, Rodney Hood, George Hill, LeBron James, Kevin Love. They can score 20. They have 7 guys that can do that. I don't think Boston does. And I think they've closed the gap on Golden State. And the thing is, LeBron just has to believe we're close. Yeah. LeBron doesn't have to think we're favorites. LeBron, before that trading deadline Wednesday, didn't feel we're close. So it was the disengaged LeBron. When I watched that yesterday, I'm like, oh, he's all in. So do I think they're a threat to win the championship? No, but if you're closing the gap, cross your fingers, those Golden State Stars have a history of getting injured.
I'm prepared to look very stupid. I'm prepared to look stupid. I think they're a threat. I think they can win the championship. And I know next week I may regret these comments. They may lose 3 straight, who knows? And I'm going off one game. But yeah, and I'm just going to tell you why, because what you said, they're close. And so if they're close, I'm betting on LeBron. Because when this dude is this kind of happy and joyful and engaged, anything's a possibility. And so if I get into a series, LeBron's going to be the best player, period, and it's not going to be close. He's going to be the best player. And so when I look at the way they can play defense now, and again, I know that was just one game, but they were long, they were athletic, they were quick. They just caused problems. They were pesky. That's what you need to be with Golden State. They can switch almost any screen with Golden State.
They're a very good pick-and-roll team this morning.
Yeah.
They were an awful pick-and-roll team last week, and this is a pick-and-roll league.
Yeah, look, I want to see more. I loved, obviously, what I saw last night. You couldn't help but do that. And I think, in theory, they have the pieces to be a threat to Golden State. I wouldn't call them one just yet, but in theory, look, they can defend. They've got the athleticism now to defend Golden State on the perimeter, switch, mostly everything you can with Kevin Love. But Kevin Love at center has really bothered Golden State. 24 points, 12.5 rebounds a game at the center position against the Warriors this season. So, and they will not have the star power of the Warriors. But people shouldn't be fooled into thinking, okay, Warriors have a big 4. You need at least a big 3, if not a big 4. You don't. I'm not saying, look, they've got a big 2. Kevin Love is still a perennial all-star. And if you have the right pieces that fit and guys that know their role, understand their role, and enjoy their role, which I think they do, you might be able to compete with them because Houston has a big 2. They don't have a big 3 or 4, and they got role players that fit, and they're a threat too.
I would agree with everything you guys have said. And it's not just about the new-look Cavs. There has been some slippage on the Warriors side, and everybody's watching LeBron's drama and the Rockets ascending. What we haven't seen is right now, Golden State, for the first time in the last 4 years, not top 5 in defensive efficiency.
Yeah.
They are, the last 3 years, they were number 1 in point differential, killing opponents, 10-plus points per game. They're now third, surprisingly. Like, it's little things, the turnovers, turning on social media and seeing everybody say you're a lock to win the title. Jeff Van Gundy announces games and calls it the Warriors' invitation. At some point, you're going to let it bother your game. You can't quantify complacency, and that's what's happening with the Warriors. Just as the Cavs get better, it's definitely tight. I would say, yes, the Cavs are a threat to the
You
Warriors.
said something on my show today. Wade and Rose were just not players. They could say they were going to be role players. A lot of guys can say a lot. But they got $50 million in the bank or $100 million. You do get the sense with Nance, Clarkson, George Hill, Rodney Hood, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm Robin.
Yep.
He's the man. You know, we talked about this. Think about Isaiah Thomas, Jason. So Isaiah Thomas was coming off a year he scored 29. He didn't see himself as Robin. He's like, well, I'm a better pure shooter than LeBron. So he walks into that locker room, he's calling out Kevin Love. George Hill, who's as good as any of these players, comes in and says, oh, no, I'm Robin, and owns it.
And we're all Robin,
Yes,
not just me.
And I think that goes a long way with LeBron then saying, I want to elevate you.
Your point about a big two, I disagree with. I think they have the chosen one, and that's enough. And everybody
you
else.
don't even think Love is a legit second star?
I think he somewhat, but I think he needs to fall right in line with George Hill and everybody else. They have Batman. And again, if Batman is this energized, this happy, this joyful, Chris, you lived it in Cleveland the first time around. You saw him take Eric Snow and a lot less than what he has now.
A lot less.
All the way to the finals.
I was going to say, this team is different because those teams were great defense, limited offense. This team has offensive potential and defensive potential, but it is similar. I'll say this, too. Golden State, the 2 times they won the title, they had very easy roads through the West because everybody was banged up, right? The one time they lost to Cleveland, they had a hellacious time just getting out of the West because it was 3-1
OKC.
down to OKC. I think second round, if they meet OKC, I don't know if Minnesota can give them a battle, but OKC can make it not only a tough series physically, but emotionally. Kevin Durant back in Oklahoma, Russ Westbrook. Then you get in the finals and you got to face Houston, who could make it tough. They could be a little bit banged up.
The Warriors this year are 1-4 against OKC and Houston. That's a minor thing, but the other guy, we're not talking about Andre Iguodala. He got $18 million in the offseason. He's shooting 23%.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Cavs now have Jordan Clarkson, George Hill, these young athletic guys coming off the bench. Warriors bench is looking suspect.
If you just look at the names on the Cavs roster this morning, there are, you would admit, 7 guys you're like, if I told you George Hill had 20 tomorrow, or Kyle Korver, or Jeff Green, or LeBron. Like, offensively, do the Warriors have 7 guys?
No.
They don't. So that's where I
But
do.
I think offensively, I still would put the
Yes,
Warriors.
they have the higher-end guy.
Hello, everybody. Jason McIntyre here. Thank you for listening to the Speak for Yourself podcast. But I wanted to tell you about another podcast at Fox Sports that we are really excited about, and that's Alexi Lalas's State of the Union podcast. That's right. U.S. soccer legend Alexi Lalas will be partnering up with Fox soccer guru and researcher extraordinaire David Mossy to review the top storylines in soccer across the globe. Each week, Alexi will give his State of the Union on American soccer as it rebuilds for the future. So subscribe right now and listen to the first episode for free on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Now back to the show.
Now, after half of a season struggle, Cleveland seems to have sort of reoriented their locker room overnight. As we just said, George Hill called LeBron Batman and said, quote, we'll be all the Robins. With the team appearing to be back on track, the Cavs look better positioned to lure LeBron back this offseason to Cleveland. Whitlock, ideally, do you think he'll stay there, or do you think it's the good move to stay there?
I think he should stay there. And I think if he sits back and really evaluates who he really is, again, he's Batman. And he doesn't need, even going down to Miami with Bosh and Wade, there was a process. There was a whole getting to know each other and figuring it out, and it was very painful. Again, I don't think down in Miami they reached their full potential. They got 2 titles. And then so you come back here to Cleveland and you're trying to share it with Kyrie Irving. That didn't work out for the long haul. Kyrie Irving left. This is the kind of team that LeBron needs. He is the unquestioned leader. These guys will all fall in line behind him, and they're talented. They can make shots, and he's the best shot creator other than Wilt Chamberlain or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in terms of just creating space on the court and freeing up other people. And Shaq used to do it as well. There's certain guys that just create. We've never seen a shot creator and space maker that can do all the things LeBron can do, surrounded by I wouldn't leave this. I wouldn't leave.
Listen, ideally, none of us would leave our hometowns, but we do because there's commerce elsewhere. I would have loved to have grown up in a town, played high school football, and stayed there. That's like 12% of the population can do that. Ideally, he should stay in Cleveland. But the way pro sports is, and the NBAs tend to be a glamour league, and the Miamis and the LAs, I will say this. If he won a title after Kyrie left,
like this year, or you mean just
well,
in
I mean,
general
in the
by
next
saying,
2 years, if this collection of guys won a title, even if Steph got hurt, KD got hurt, wow. Like, we're all talking about him losing finals. If you came back to Cleveland, won a title, Kyrie leaves, and Boston still can't beat you. 20 years from now, we're sitting at lounges and bars going, that, MJ didn't do that.
No, you're right. These are the things, if you really want to catch that ghost in Chicago, the platter can't just be sitting there for you and you go to the most talented team and win it. If he stayed in Cleveland and they did win against this all-time great Warriors team, that would mean more than going and playing with Paul George and the Lakers and winning it. And here's the thing else. If you go to the Lakers, guess what, LeBron? You better win it. The Lakers don't get excited about getting to the second round or going out in the conference finals. Every other player, save Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Shaq, Kobe, Kareem, Magic, Wilt Chamberlain, they all won titles with the Lakers. So they delivered. If LeBron James might be better than all of them, goes there and doesn't deliver, then that could be a mark on his legacy. He does not need to look at it like, I'm tired of getting to the finals and getting beat. There's an achievement in getting to 7 straight finals, even if the East is weak. Make it 8, 9, 10, whatever it is. Because we've seen only 4 teams in history have gotten to 4 straight finals. Teams. We're talking one individual to 7 straight. You see the Warriors. You mentioned the Warriors. The mental fatigue, the frustration, Draymond getting technicals, Steve Kerr, Kevin Durant getting technicals. They're getting exhausted by the 4th straight run. LeBron, it's an achievement to go to 7, 8, 9 straight finals. He needs to think about that, even if you lose.
Woo, you guys really, all of a sudden, LeBron's got to stay, huh? I just keep coming back to this.
Take off your Lakers jersey before you say something.
I just keep coming back to this. If he leaves and doesn't win a title with the Lakers, it's a black mark. If he stays and feuds with Dan Gilbert and doesn't win, it's also a black mark. He can't win here. So that's why I think he ultimately will feud with Dan Gilbert again, and I think he's got to get out of Cleveland.
Where to go, though? Where?
I'm still on board with the Lakers. I do believe that is the best situation.
Even if he never gets back to the finals?
I don't think it necessarily matters. Staying in Cleveland, you said if he stays there and wins without Kyrie. And what if he doesn't? What if Jordan Clarkson turns into a pumpkin in the playoffs and the spotlight's too big for Rodney Hood? Then what? LeBron's going to stick around with those guys? Because they can't, there's no avenue for them right now to get another superstar like you said Kevin Love is.
Well,
they can't get one.
My thing is executing his vision, his big vision, helping Akron, empowering the guys he grew up with, bringing championships and respect to Cleveland. Now they have this general manager, Kobe Altman, that he could help empower and make someone important in the NBA. If LeBron really wants to execute his vision, Cleveland is the perfect place to do it. I just go back to, again, he doesn't get along that well with other superstars when they're on the same team. Again, the whole thing in Miami eventually fell apart. Obviously, it fell apart with Kyrie. Chris, you would know better than anybody. The LeBron James we saw yesterday reminds me of the LeBron James in those first 6, 7 years in Cleveland. And to me, even though he didn't win titles, the happiest LeBron was when he was playing with his guys in Cleveland and they were taking fake pictures.
You know what else? Those were very good Cleveland teams. They won 66 games and then 61. There was a big three in Boston that was great.
Right.
All right. There was an Orlando team with Dwight Howard and a bunch of shooters that was really. There's nobody like that in the East to stop them from getting to the finals. So look, I will say this. LeBron should see if this team is close. We think they're close. If they go to the finals and lose to Golden State and say a good 6-game series, that's close enough. Because remember, you're going to get a top pick. Who knows who that top 5 or 7 pick could be? And then you might be able to get other players. If they're close, I think you should stay. If they get blown away again,
just
then
remember,
all
the
bets
guy
are
you
off.
always compare LeBron to, Magic Johnson, is sitting over here as an, big dog, has a partial owner with the Dodgers. If that's LeBron's next phase, as you like to say, go into moguldom, right? At the end of his career, the Lakers is the place
He's
for him.
doing pretty well.
He's doing all right. He's doing all right in Akron.
Welcome back, Chris Broussard, Jay Macker here. Let's move to Boston, where the Boston Police Department is in hot water over a tweet honoring Red Auerbach for Black History Month. The tweet highlighted Red Auerbach's efforts on behalf of African Americans and was met with an avalanche of criticism, including from the city's mayor, Marty Walsh, who said, quote, "Yesterday's tweet from the Boston Police Department was completely inappropriate and a gross misrepresentation of how we are honoring Black History Month in Boston." Whitlock, is this harsh criticism fair?
Yeah, it's fair. Look, it was stupid what they did. It's indefensible is a word you could toss around, but I don't want to overestimate how big of an offense this was. It's a tweet. It's a mistake. But the one thing I would say, because I would imagine this is a younger person running the Boston Police Department's social media account. And if you follow social media and what people think, where the race conversation has gone in America, it's not about what black people can do. Much of the race conversation in modern America now is about what are white people gonna do. So I could see some young person in Boston thinking, well, here's a great example of what white people did to help black people, and thinking in today's mindset where all the conversation is about what are white people gonna do, what are white people gonna do, and just did something stupid and deserves the criticism, but I'm not gonna make too much of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is 2018, sorry.
Yeah.
And people get fired for stuff like this, and it's the new reality. And I just think you have to be incredibly aware. I mean, one of the reasons I've peeled off social media is because there are very few wins and there are major losses. And, I've always joked, don't do it at home over a beer or in your underwear, because then you're casual. And you tweet stuff casually. When you go to Twitter, everything counts. There's virtually no wins and huge losses. So I'm not surprised by it. And it's pretty tone deaf to me. Right? I mean, like especially when you look at the history of the city.
If you just look at the first sentence of their deal, as we honor, Black History Month, let's throw a shout out to Red Auerbach, and you picture Bill Russell right next to him. Somewhat a light should have went, oh, maybe we should honor Bill Russell.
Possibly.
So, instead of the coach who drafted the first black player, how about honoring the black player or the black coach, Bill Russell, Chuck Cooper, the player? Look, I don't know. We don't know the circumstances of who did it, how old they were. Was it an intern? I will say this. I'm not 100% positive it wasn't done on purpose. It could be somebody throwing it out there as a little shot, and you can justify by saying, oh, well, he did a lot for black people. What do you mean? You know what I mean? So you never know. I mean,
No, the word you're looking for, they could have been trying to be sarcastic.
Yeah.
And it blew up in their face, and I think you're right. That is a possibility.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what you said, Colin, Whitlock's been telling me for a while, less is more on social media. And I think this is the perfect example of it. There is no win absolutely anywhere near here. Like, what are you getting out of it? And we see the young guys on social media pushing their Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and I don't understand what are you trying to accomplish here? I just at the basic level, what are you trying to accomplish?
That person would say, if they were trying to defend themselves, is they were trying to say, hey, look, here's an example of white and black people working together, and look at this great history that Red Auerbach and Bill Russell had. That's what they would say. But again, Chris makes the sarcastic point that I think potentially does have some relevance. And even if it's not sarcastic, it could be very defensive of like, man, everybody's just beating up on the white man, so let me show you what the white man did for black people. It could have come out of that spirit, which isn't the spirit of Black History Month. And again, what I would be we're lumping this all on some young person, but I would imagine on something like this, it had to be cleared by someone. I just don't think this is one individual that puts out the tweet. And again, when you consider Boston's history and Boston's history with black athletes, you would think someone would be smarter than this, than to go there. And it really, it drags Red Auerbach into a controversy that he has no business being in, because it is actually quite positive how he empowered Bill Russell and how he surrounded Bill Russell with other African-American players, empowered him to be the head coach, helped create this legend that we have now in Bill Russell.
So we can expect police department tweets about the Red Sox next week, right? and then after that, the Bruins? Like, what are you just...
They'll do better. All right, welcome back. We're joined now by Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson and Super Bowl champ Greg Jennings. Let's move to the NFL, where the season may be over, but the trash talking isn't, with Eagles offensive lineman Lane Johnson taking some shots at the team Philly just beat in the Super Bowl.
I just think the Patriot way it's a fear-based organization. Obviously, do they win? Hell yes, they win. They won for a long time. Do I think people can say, I had a lot of fun playing there? No, I don't.
Right.
That's just God honest truth. Not to be reckless, but hey, I would much rather have fun and win a Super Bowl than be miserable and
win 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, win 5 Super Bowls, but hey.
All right, Cowherd, you like Lane Johnson calling out the Patriots way.
Isn't this the way we knew Philadelphia would act if they won?
You like winners?
No class. No class. I mean, listen, this would be like a team randomly winning the college football national championship and saying, the Alabama way doesn't work. No, the Alabama-New England way is exactly how football works, which it is known as a good time. By the way, you ever gotten in an
He
Uber?
didn't say it didn't work.
No, but what he said is, I'd rather be less successful and it's Mardi Gras than more successful.
No, he did.
Well, what did he say?
He said he'd rather have fun.
Exactly.
Football should
by the
be
way,
fun.
is Gronk not... you know what's fun in football? High-fiving.
That's the only player you can go to is Gronk.
Oh,
only
really?
player.
Yeah, Brady doesn't appear to be having any fun.
Name another player.
I'm now at 2.
How about Malcolm Butler?
Brady.
Patrick Chung seems to be having fun.
No.
Nate Solder seems to be having fun. Since when does football have to be fun? Winning is fun.
What are you talking about,
Winning
Colin?
is fun.
It is fun, but look, that sport is already rough and crazy enough. When you go into the locker room, you want to go in there and have fun. That's what it's all about. When you go in the locker room, think about, let's just say you're losing. When the coach comes in the locker room and you got trash on the floor, this is why we're losing right here, because we got trash on the floor. When you're winning, it could be trash everywhere. Well, we just a bunch of guys had a lot of fun. That's what it's all about, just fun. Football should be fun. It's a sport. It's a fun sport. But you can also make it a non-fun sport playing for the wrong organization. And I'm not saying the Patriots are, but I'm telling you, you want to have fun playing football.
I think the comments that Lane Johnson made are spot on. It's his opinion. He wasn't saying that they're not successful in their fear-based ways. But what he's saying is, I would rather enjoy my time when I'm in a facility full of guys for 6 to 8 hours every day. What's wrong with that? Instead of being uptight, not knowing if you're going to be released, cut, doesn't matter if you're going to see this guy or that guy. When one guy predicts and dictates everything that you say at the podium, your posture at the podium, your posture on the football field, and nobody says anything. That is fear-based.
Well,
he's not saying anything that we don't see.
Why is Josh McDaniels turning down a head coaching job with Andrew Luck?
Because
if it's so...
He's been bullied so much.
Oh, come
that again,
on.
It's undermined his self-confidence. I'm going to tell you who this is.
Who?
And again, it's someone, I have a great respect for Bobby Knight. But...
he's a tyrant.
And this is a different kind of tyrant. Look, Bill Parcells and Bobby Knight go all the way back to the Army days. Bill Parcells was an assistant coach in Army basketball with Bobby Knight. This is a mentality that's been passed on Belichick, Parcells, Bobby Knight. And again, so would I rather play for Dean Smith than Bobby Knight? Would I rather play for Coach K than Bobby Knight?
James Harrison chose New England.
For a few weeks.
By the way, Nick Saban, people can't get out of Alabama. The coordinators can't get out of town fast enough. Multiple coordinators have left New England, and they've come back. Why? If it's so horrible, why?
Because, again, they don't want to get off the tee. And it's successful. These assistants keep landing these head coaching jobs, so it's a way to get your own head coaching job and appear to be successful. People come back out of fear. When you lead by fear all the time, and Belichick does. He leads by fear. And players, because of this Malcolm Butler situation, you're going to see more and more players comfortable expressing how they really feel about the Patriots and the Bill Belichick way.
I don't know if they'll really express it, because I think that's what Lane Johnson is alluding to. They're afraid to still even express
about players around the league.
Oh, around the league, outside of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think they'll identify this as, man, this has to be what everybody's talking about. If you take your best defensive player and bench him for a reason that we still really don't really know why from Belichick's side and organizational side, then you'll do it to anybody. And I think players coming in, you have to have a sense of pride about yourself. It's not an arrogance, but you have to be comfortable in who you are and know who you are as far as the talent.
Next time you get on a plane, and you get on a plane and you get on a plane, you guys travel a lot. Do you want this? Welcome. It's an hour 45 flight, little turbulence hour in. We're going to land 8 minutes ahead. Or do you want this from your pilot? Hey, cocktails up in the cockpit. We're having a good time. Hey, I'm having fun at my workplace. Or do you want the pilot to be a grown-up? I like going to my football team and deal with a grown-up.
I want to have fun. He don't say I'm having cocktails. Hey, this is going to be a fun flight on the way to Hawaii.
I just don't
Get to
want
Honolulu, enjoy yourself, and enjoy this flight.
No. Sports are supposed to be fun.
Thank you. It's supposed to be
You know what
fun.
flying is supposed to be? Safe. And so, again, those are two different disciplines. When you're playing a sport and risking your body and your health, and again, you've been playing it since you're a little kid, it should be more fun. A little personality doesn't hurt your team.
When was the least fun you've ever had in the NFL? The least fun.
The least fun
is losing.
In Minnesota when I was losing.
Oh, okay.
I can answer
so
that.
But losing's no fun.
Losing is no fun, but I will say this. When I was in Green Bay, we had fun. We were loose. We were the Eagles, and it works. It doesn't always equate to losses, and that's the thing that I think Lane Johnson is saying. There is other ways you can win. Yes, has it worked for them? Absolutely. But do you see the lineup of guys across the league hurrying to go over to New England?
Well, no.
Absolutely
they're
not.
Not hurrying to go anywhere. Babysitters are fun. Somebody's got to parent the kids. This fun stuff sounds wonderful.
Did you play
can do
sports?
both.
I did.
What did you play?
My coaches.
What did you play?
Everything.
Tennis?
And
Bowling?
And mom and dad said, son, go out there and win now.
Right.
And now
Go out there and have fun.
I'm sure you'll have fun after you win. No, they said, son, no matter what, have fun.
My parents didn't say that. They said,
would you-
my parents said, go chop some wood and bring it in for the fireplace. Tough parents. Well, Lane Johnson is just the latest to go after Bill Belichick, who's faced some criticism since his decision to bench Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl. Both Tony Dungy and former Patriot Brandon Browner criticized Belichick's decision. Even Tom Brady weighed in, offering a message of support to Butler on Instagram. Whitlock, did benching Butler damage Belichick's reputation?
Yes, and I'm glad we're circling back to this.
You're really on this.
Yeah, because I think Lane Johnson adds to the chorus of people around the league and football people that have a tremendous amount of respect for what the Patriots have accomplished, but now feel comfortable and coming, particularly because of this Malcolm Butler situation, feel comfortable saying, man, it ain't got to be like that. Because, again, we talk about the other decisions, Bill Belichick, Richard Seymour, Ty Law. You could always tie those to, he did those to win. This decision here with Malcolm Butler appears to be just ego run amok and just drawing a line in the sand. It's my way or the highway. And it blew up in his face. And I think, moving forward, there will be a price to pay for Bill Belichick as long as he stays as the head coach in the NFL Players now feel comfortable saying, man, Belichick's out of control. And he's a human being. You can be drunk on success.
Name the last two really great teams, great locker rooms that unraveled. Barry Switzer and the Cowboys, okay, players coach, and Pete Carroll this year with the Seahawks. Say what you want, player empowerment. Here's what doesn't unravel. Coach is the boss, don't mess around.
That's fear.
Huh?
That's fear.
Well, by the way, and it worked with Woody Hayes, and it works with Saban.
It blew
and it
up
worked
with Woody
Landry.
Hayes.
But the locker rooms that blow up.
Nick Saban has players for the top players 3 years.
Okay, but Jimmy
maybe
Johnson.
4.
Jimmy Johnson ran that.
Oh, they had fun in Dallas.
Well,
they've written books about the fun they had in Dallas.
I'm going to ask you a question. And when you play on a football team, coaches know who to yell at and grab their face mask, and they know who not to yell at and grab their face, don't they?
Absolutely.
That's it. You know who to do that to. You know who not to do that to. It's maybe guys that they will say it on, like the coach may say it on the slide. He's not going to call a guy out. He's just not. I mean, there's certain guys that you will grab, certain guys you will say things to. Like I like the Malcolm Butler thing. I think the thing that I think is good and bad about it is that we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. In our day, if this would have happened, it's all on the player. Oh, he must have been smoking weed. He probably had girls in the room. And because when they write it, people say, oh, it's true. But now a player has a chance to say, this is not true. And you know when Tom Brady says it's not true, then it can't be true.
I think I would buy your theory, because what really hurt Seattle was there was the Marshawn Lynch move.
Yeah.
And that really ticked off the stars in Seattle's locker room, like
Yeah.
Richard Sherman. The star in New England's locker room is Brady.
Who doesn't like this decision.
But he's not going to let this thing seep all through the locker room. If Brady was
He can't stop it, Colin. If you were on that team and had a chance to win a Super Bowl and you watched your head coach get in a dispute with one player and put his hurt feelings or whatever ahead of winning, Brady can't stop it. Those other grown men in that locker room are like, man, this was some BS.
Right, this is some BS.
I don't think it damages his reputation. What I do believe is it will alert guys coming in now to see this guy. I can't play for this guy if he's going to do this, because they will now, to your point, as you said earlier, they'll recognize this is what he does. This is who he is. And when you look at the guys that they bring in, they don't stay. Brandon Browner, there just to get a championship. Darrelle Revis, 1 year, gone. Keem Talib, a couple years, gone. Randy Moss, 1 year, gone. They don't stick. Why? Because they go there to just try to win, but they don't really embrace the culture. They don't embrace anything there, because Belichick, he dictates everything. And with this decision, I agree with you 100%. It didn't work out to where he was doing this to win the ball game. He was doing it to make a point. Bottom line, all his other decisions, they were done to make a decision to try to enhance their opportunity to win. This one did not do that.
Greg, that's why I'm saying in his own locker room, he has always stood on the decisions I make are about winning. Now when he stands on that, the 53 guys in that locker room go, no, you don't. Not all the time. And it's going to ring hollow. And that's going to be a problem for Bill Belichick moving forward. He needs to either come up out of this and admit his mistake or explain it fully, because a bunch of grown men with money in their pocket ain't going to just sit. You just can't tell them any damn thing.
I think that's why Tom Brady appreciates this and he supported. Because Tom is probably thinking, yeah, Bill, you just cost me number 6.
That part.
Because it was the coaches. It was coaching.
No, I do think there could be some resentment. Brady threw for 5 football fields.
Absolutely.
And lost.
Malcolm Butler's done it twice. And he destroyed Seattle's locker room. They haven't gotten over that interception and not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch. And I'm telling you, New England's players, unless they get rid of damn near everybody, they're not going to get over what Belichick did on that football Sunday.
Welcome back. Eric Dickerson, Greg Jennings here. The fun guys. Let's return to the National Football League, where Jimmy Garoppolo just got a record-breaking deal from the Niners. But another one could be coming when Kirk Cousins enters free agency next month. Cousins will have some options, including teams with a lot of cash, like Cleveland and the Jets, and others who may be closer to winning, like Denver and Arizona. Whitlock, should Kirk Cousins chase the money or the wins?
Got to chase the wins if I'm Kirk Cousins. You're going to get paid $23, $24 million a year. You've just made close to $50 million, I think, the last 2 years. He needs to make a decision about winning. The knock on Kirk Cousins is he a guy that's the difference between winning and losing? Can he do what Jimmy Garoppolo just did? Elevate a team, put them on a team that you thought nothing of and make them win 5 straight. Kirk Cousins hasn't won 5 straight games since his junior year in college. And so I think he needs to make a football decision based on wins and leave money on the table. Pay no attention to what Jimmy Garoppolo just got paid.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that have won a big game, like Trent Dilfer, Phil Simms, and they weren't always the richest. But think about guys who made a ton, Brock Osweiler, who didn't win. They're a joke. Like, what you don't want to be in pro sports is wildly paid and unsuccessful. Like, you can live with that. It feels great in your bank account. But wouldn't you rather have a little less and have won games? Like, what I just think in sports, what you don't want to be is Brock Osweiler. Like, you mention his name and people wince. They're like,
get a better example because I don't think he's going to be Brock
nowhere
Osweiler.
close. Nowhere. I get your point. I totally get your point. But number one, I'll say this, and then I'll answer the question. If he chases money, he wins. if he goes after winning, he wins. He wins either way in this situation because, to your point, he's going to get paid regardless. But I think for Kirk Cousins, he has to find a situation that will allow him to blossom into who the Washington Redskins never thought he could blossom into and who we still question if he can blossom into. So for me, he has all the tools to get it done. You're going to get paid. Go somewhere where it fits what you're doing, the pieces are close to being there or there, and have success. The reason why Jimmy Garoppolo got what he has, the main piece is intact. Kyle Shanahan.
I agree. When he lost Sean McVay, he lost a lot. I mean, I've said this on your show. I just never have been that name Cousins. I mean, there's nothing about just like I like a tough name, Montana. Brady, just the name.
You don't bother.
I just name a couple Hall of Famers.
I just I can name a few guys. Elway.
Staubach.
Young. I mean,
get out of here. Young is not tough.
I'm like Cousins. I'm like, you know what? He's good, but he's not great. And I'm with you. He's never won a lot of games. He hasn't won in a row. And you got to be consistent in National Football League. If he goes to Cleveland, he loses. He may get the money, but his career may be over. I think the best spot for him would be Denver.
Yeah, this comment's going to be misconstrued a little bit, but you saying Brock Osweiler. If I'm Kirk Cousins, I don't want to be Phillip Rivers. I really don't. Phillip Rivers has put up a bunch of numbers, but they're meaningless. And he's been paid a lot of money. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be, and I like this guy personally. He played at Indiana University, but I don't want to be Trent Green. And again, that seems to be the trajectory that he's on. Guys that put up nice numbers, went to Pro Bowls, and were thought of well. But again, in this modern NFL, where if you're a starting quarterback in this league, you're going to make $15 to $25 million a year.
That's the backup.
Yeah, the backup. And so he's going to make $20 million if he goes to Denver. I would not choose a worse situation that made me as much money as Jimmy Garoppolo.
By the way, just on economics alone, let's say he goes to Denver and takes less money. Well, there's a chance he would get another contract. Quarterbacks are now planning to be 38.
Yeah.
Drew Brees has got 3 years left. He's 39. If you make a ton of dough and lose, it's over. So, I mean, just economics, take a little less and play 9 years instead of a ton and play 4. By the way these contracts work, people will load up early like Garoppolo with an escape route. So if he's a bum in 2 years, he's out of the league. Nobody's going to pay that kind of money for him.
I hope Phil Rivers isn't watching, but again, in this era of football, you just don't want to be a stats guy in the NFL at the quarterback position. Because a lot of people think like Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. I don't. And if I'm Kirk Cousins, I want to go somewhere, win Super Bowls, and try to build a legacy that's bigger than just the city I'm in.
I actually like the Rivers comparison. Both fiery guys. I think skill sets are very similar, but do you think he has the success if he goes to Denver to be a Phillip? Because Phillip Rivers is a really good quarterback. Do you think he has that type of success?
Well, he could, but I think if he goes to Denver now, he has an immediate. He doesn't have to do as much as Phillip Rivers because I think they have a better defense, and I think they're ready to win now. Kirk Cousins' entire focus should be, man, Nick Foles just got a Super Bowl. How do I get one? Immediately. Not 3 years down the road. How can I get one next year? And that's what my decision would be based on. All right, welcome back. Time for last call. Let's move to Cleveland, where the Browns are gearing up for the draft and have requested a private visit with Heisman Trophy winner Baker Mayfield. Cowherd, Cleveland hasn't had much luck with quarterbacks for the last 20 years or so. Maybe Brian Sipe is their last good one. Should they take Baker Mayfield?
No, this is ridiculous. So they've been in trouble anytime they've taken a slightly undersized guy from a warm weather climate. Cody Kessler, Colt McCoy, Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel. Like, this is Cleveland. You got the Allen kid, 6'5", 240. Sam Darnold, 6'3", 230. You need a big, sturdy kid that can go to Pittsburgh when the weather's lousy, can go to Cleveland, Cincinnati. These are outdoor stadiums in the north. I want a big, strong-armed kid.
Yeah, I don't like Baker Mayfield at number 1 or number 4. I think they have the first and the fourth pick in the first round. I think Baker Mayfield is a guy that someone takes a flyer on late in the first round, early in the second round. I like Baker Mayfield. This is not an insult to him. But again, he's a little too small for my liking. He ran a gimmicky offense.
Yes, he did.
And so, again, first round, bottom of the first round, top of the second. Been a lot of great quarterbacks come from that. This is not an insult to him. But if I'm Cleveland, no dice at the top of the draft. I don't blame them for doing their due diligence, though. All right, to Lonzo Ball, who just announced the release of his debut mixtape entitled Born to Ball, including a track list featuring such future hits as BBB and LeVar. Cowherd, will Lonzo be a better rapper or NBA player?
NBA player. It's really hard. Ask Michael Jordan. It's hard to be great at a second thing. I mean, it just is. I mean, Randy Moss wanted to play basketball, and Roy Jones Jr. wanted to play hoops, and Michael Jordan wanted to be a baseball player. It's hard to be great at one thing.
Look, there's been one basketball player that actually put out a decent rap album.
Who?
Shaq. Shaq's album was, and I know I'm going to get slaughtered for this, but Shaq's album was actually pretty good. I just don't see Lonzo Ball being as good as Shaquille O'Neal at the rapping thing. So I think he'll be a better basketball player. But I actually think he's going to be kind of mediocre at both, a role player at both basketball and rapping. So
how about the Lakers? He got hurt. They're pretty good.
They've been playing better. They played well enough with him. I'm not going to down him too much, but they have been playing better.
Luke Walton deserves some credit.
LeVar in Lithuania deserves credit.
All right. That's it for us. See you tomorrow.